So everybody got that? And again, the cranial nerves are really the first thing we've encountered that has a really widespread use of an mnemonic like that. But there are lots of those memorizing anatomical terms. So I do encourage y'all to seek out things that make sense to you. I posted some cranial nerve resources, and in fact, I think somebody, I forgot to check it, I haven't had a chance to yet, but one of the links is broken, so I'll go back and fix that, I think. But there's songs about them, there's like, in some anatomy classes, people will have to like make up their own skit about cranial nerves. So you just find endless resources on remembering these kinds of things. Posters like this, when we revisit them, I'm going to have y'all create some sort of visual to remember the cranial nerves. And we'll have a fun, figure out what cranial nerves you are with like a cranial nerve in your back activity in class to make sure y'all really know them. When I was teaching motor speech, I didn't realize it was animated. There we go. I'll just click through while I'm talking. It takes forever. When I used to teach motor speech, one thing I used to do is have every day all the students would just have to come up and write their functions. So by the time you get to a higher level course that's going to be talking about motor neurons or the neuromotor system, you're gonna be expected to definitely know the numbers and names of the cranial nerves and their basic functions, but you'll just need to know, you'll be needing to learn in more detail. So at this stage, you need to be able to go through and understand what the details mean, and I'll definitely be expecting you to tell me the generals, the generalities. Generals? You can say generals like that? So I'll want to know if it's motor or if it's sensory and what its major function is. You'll see as we get to the more like vagus, for example, a lot of really specific minute functions, and I'll tell you which ones are the most important. So your olfactory nerve is a special sensory nerve, and it is primarily responsible for smell. If you look at the ventral brain model right here, Jackie has it, you'll see the olfactory bulbs that run ventral to the frontal lobes. They're really susceptible to injury. So you'll see anosmia as a really common problem after brain injury. So any kind of shearing of the brain, when your brain moves around, it's sloshing around it there. And has anybody ever touched the inside of a skull? I'll bring that skull back and put it inside. What does it feel like inside? Like the inside of the skull, or what does the ventral surface feel like? Like the ventral surface of the skull cap? Of the fossa. Oh, it feels kind of hard. Is it smooth? Yeah, it's kind of smooth. It depends on the part. Like the petrous portion is a little more rough, but there's a lot of divots and. So there are large smooth bits, but a lot of what is around the brainstem and the nerves underneath are really cookie and stabby. So the underbelly of your frontal lobe, your olfactory bulbs, all that stuff is actually really susceptible to being sheared by the ventral surface of the interior surface of your skull. I don't know if I've ever felt it without like the meninges over it. Oh yeah, maybe that's what it is. The meninges would make it this way. I'll bring mine back in and I'll give you that. So you'll see this in brain injury, and it's actually one of the early symptoms of dementia. That nerve is affected really early. In fact, there's this one test called the peanut butter on a stick test, where a neurologist I used to work with developed this test where I don't know what the stick was for actually in retrospect, but they had the person close their eyes, and I think they used the stick to close one nostril, and would ask the person if they were smelling for the other nostril, and they would switch. It was a better test than actually all the tests of cognition and brain scans that we're doing. It was more accurate at identifying people with Alzheimer's disease. That's because it's so vulnerable and older than a lot of our other functions. Oops. Okay. So here's your optic nerve. Where does this travel from and to? Optic. From your eyes. Where does it go next? It's optic chiasm and then back to your occipital lobes. That's right. Its function is vision. It's sensory. So what it's doing is collecting the sensory information from your retina and passing it on to your occipital lobe to process. So you can lose vision, you have visual disturbance. services, even if your lens and everything else in your eye is functioning well, if your optic nerve is severed or damaged in some way, it can affect what you're able to see. And there can be partial damage or whole damage to this, and so you can see field cuts and that sort of thing, or complete loss of vision. The oculomotor nerve, so we're to motor only, right? Or down to 3, so SSM, with the origin in the midbrain. It's primarily motor. You have some parasympathetic functions, but we're really going to focus on the motor. And it helps you move your eyes left and right. That's your oculomotor nerve. If you damage your optics, did somebody drop this there? So if there's damage to the oculomotor nerve, you'll have trouble moving your eyes left and right, just like what it says in here. It also can affect your pupils or your cerebellum, just won't stay put. And you can also have ptosis, where you have drooping of the eye and some swelling. And we'll come back in just a second to the slides. I want to show you a picture of has it been a while since y'all have seen the eye muscles? Do you want to see the eye muscles? Let's look.
So if someone has like nystagmus, would this be affected by that? Like if their eye keeps twitching almost back and forth?
So nystagmus can have many different sources. The neural source that I'm most familiar with is actually cerebellar, which is different, and that just has to do with inhibiting motion. Your eyes actually jump around quite a lot. They saccade. Do y'all know what the word saccade means? Mm-hmm. So if you try to look across the room, you can't do so smoothly unless you like blur your eyes or look at something that's continuous, right? So just try it right now. Try to look from here to here, keeping completely focused, and everything is just moves smoothly. You've never tried that before. It's like, wait, I can't do it. Why can't I make myself do it? It's really frustrating. And that's because your eyes jump from one sensory stimulus to another. And that's actually brain control. It's not nerve control. Your nerves are just letting your muscles do their job. I'm bringing up the eyes here. Okay. So you have a whole lot of muscles that control your eyes' movements in different directions and planes. And that's why you have a lot of cranial nerves devoted to helping them move. So the oculomotor is left and right. We'll get to the trochlear in just a second. Is this image or something like it familiar to y'all? So what I'll do is I'll post a couple of good eye images for y'all to review. So I'm guessing in A&P y'all didn't talk about eye muscles much, did you? I'm just not realizing. So it's not super important for speech and language, unless it is. So it's not like it's going to affect your speech or swallowing or anything directly, but if you're working with somebody and you're trying to work with them on reading, and you don't know how the cranial nerves work for the eyes, you're like, man, why can you never get to the left of the page without moving the book? Stop moving the book, you're making it harder on yourself, you're losing your place. People can't turn his eye that way, so you need to think of some other way to help that person read the text. And so if you know there's an impairment to one of these nerves, you can help work around that impairment or address it, right? And so while it won't directly impact your articulation, clarity, or intelligibility, it can affect other communicative things, like being able to track somebody or make appropriate eye contact or at least look at people's faces rapidly. So I'll make a note to post one of those for y'all. Oops. Okay. Post a picture. Okay. So oculomotor, left and right. And then you have the eyelid control and the pupil constriction. The trochlear nerve moves eyes up and down. Oops. So oculomotor, trochlear. How do I always remember? We'll do that every time I say it. I'm remembering. Okay? So again, motor only. When you have problems with that, if you have problems with up and down, you can see nystagmus, which is what you brought up. And that's not this way, that's this way. So nystagmus is bouncing. Yeah. You can see it, some nystagmus this way, but that's the cerebellar control I was thinking of. Nystagmus upside down can be this or it can be cerebellar.
Is there a term for both of those? Like
It's just wiggly eyes. I don't actually know what the reading word means. But I'm curious. We probably look up the
it means
etymology.
dancing eyes. Like
Is that what the root means?
I think so.
The etymology? What were you going to say?
Oh, it's actually too off track. But there's also oscillopsia is when I actually have it. It's where your eyes bounce up and down when you're like, it's too complicated. But when you're running, it's like nystagmus, but I also thought nystagmus was back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have to show it to you.
So is it a nerve problem or is it more?
It's a problem of the visual ocular reflex.
Visual ocular reflex. I don't know anything about it. But it's not something that has to do with the cranial nerves though. It's
I don't think so. I think that's why I was wondering if you knew where the VOR was. In the brain or?
Let's talk about that.
Okay.
Okay. So one of the problems here that I didn't talk about in the last slide too, that made me think of it as a good question, so it's fine. I can go a little off track. Is remember that you don't have to necessarily damage both of these at once, right? So this can be unilateral or it can be bilateral. And so if it's unilateral, that's when you can really see a lot of problems with things like diplopia. What's diplopia? Double vision. So if you can't move your eyes very well in sync because you have a motor problem with one of the eye movements, you might have trouble lining up where your eyes are moving and focusing. Your trigeminal nerve is really important, and we'll take a little break and finish up the cranial nerves and everything here. So your trigeminal is where we're getting into the cranial nerves that do a lot more involving sensory and motor functions. So, has everybody ever been to the dentist? Got there. Hopefully you've all been to the dentist at these points. I actually am really bad about that. And gotten something numbed in their face. So they're actually numbing the trigeminal nerve, typically, one of the branches. And whenever I go, I get that done, I usually point that out, and the dentist is always like, what? Why are you talking? Like, ooh, is that the facial branch or the... So next time you go to the dentist and get numbed, ask like which branch they're targeting. And be concerned if they can't tell you. And try to tell the difference if it's a can't or won't sort of situation. So you have, they typically know. So it's, what the trigeminal nerve is carrying in terms of sensory information is touch, so pressure basically, pain, temperature, and also vibration, which is one I don't think we talked about yet. So vibration has its own sensory components. It's for the face, for the mouth, and for the anterior 2/3 of the tongue. So if you have your trigeminal numb, that's controlling maybe half your tongue in there while you're getting dental work done. Anybody had that done recently? What happens? I try to eat afterwards, and what does that mean? You bite your tongue a lot. That's true. Drool. Yeah. You might not be able to eat on that side. But it's actually good practice once you learn more about swallowing and how to help somebody that has a weakness on one side. You actually learn to put the food on the other side, which isn't always that intuitive, especially if you've had that done recently and you do that, you're like, dang it, stop it, I'm dribbling all my food down my shirt. Or turning your head or tilting your head to help swallow. Yeah.
So when you have when you get I don't know, your wisdom teeth out and stuff, there's nerve damage, is it going to be the trigeminal nerve?
Yeah, typically actually. And for some people, the roots of your teeth are actually wrapped around your cranial nerves, and so you're more likely to get nerve damage. So dig them out of there. Not good with teeth, guys. Or mouth pain. Not my favorite thing. So when you have problems with the trigeminal nerve, you're going to lose some of these sensations, and they do more than you think. So when they numb the trigeminal for dentistry, for example, you still have motor control. They're not typically numbing the motoric portion, but that sensory doesn't lie, right? You're still drooling. You're still not able to tell if your mouth is open or closed or how hard you're closing it because you don't have that pressure sensation of how much pressure you need to put on your lips to create a seal, right? So if you do this, if you've ever done this with a kid and have them pop the air out of your mouth, kids are actually really bad at keeping that seal because their nervous system is still developing. Good with my kids all the time. Is your motor system strong? Yeah, let's try it. Or don't let me open your mouth. So if you don't have even if you have the motor control, if you don't have the sensation, that will still be hard because you can't tell how much pressure to be giving. Does that make sense? You can teach yourself to work around it, but it's not that easy.
So when you're testing like the different nerves, is that like one of the ways that you would do it in like pediatrics? You're like, let's play a game.
Yes, actually. So a lot of people get into speech pathology because they think it's going to be hands off. Like, no, you're actually touching people's faces all the time. And you're like, man, I want to get in your mouth and like look around so figure out what's going on with you. That kind of stuff. So when you do test a kid, you have the tongue sticking out, which we'll get to, and they'll go, you go around and have them puff up their cheeks. And if there's a unilateral problem, you might see where it's not symmetrical. Then you might try to pop them closed, or you might try to, like you'll use a popsicle stick, tongue depressor, that's the real word for it. Where you try to open the lips, pry open, and you'll say, don't let me do it. Or you'll put your tongue in your cheek and don't let me push it, that kind of stuff. And you do it with adults too, actually. Just you won't be cutesy about it. Like, oh, you're looking ice cream on your lips, and the adult's going, okay. You're a jerk. Stop condescending. Stop being condescending. So here's some of the branches that you'll see. So again, the trigeminal nerve is a really important one. So you have the maxillary zone, the ophthalmic zone, excuse me, and the mandibular zone. Around your face. And you can get a lot more stuff from that. Yeah.
Why does it have a slow next to it?
I didn't catch that. Did somebody catch it?
I thought it was important.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, and I cut you off. What did y'all say? Say it again.
I heard it. It's an important word that we need to know.
Thank you. Yes, that's what it is. So this nerve is important for speech and swallowing. So really, really, really know this one.
So optic nerve also has a scar next to it, and that would also be important. It's vision, but that's important for speech and swallowing.
Well, it's important for our language. Okay. Yeah. Yep. Less important though. You can work around blindness. Okay. Abducens helps you rotate your eyes. Right. So again, you can get uncomfortable movements here, nystagmus. You ever had nystagmus? Sometimes you get it where your eye is twitching, it sort of feels like your eye is bouncing. Not that common. Have you ever been super drunk? Don't tell me. If you've been super drunk, that's something that can happen.
Caffeine will do it.
Yes, that's true. Caffeine will too. That's a nicer one. Yeah. If you've ever been too caffeinated and your eyes bounce, that's nystagmus. It helps you to rotate your eyes. Because when you're focusing on something, it's not just a matter of looking at it and having your pupils move properly for the light. It's also a matter of turning your limbs in the right way if something's really close or not something's very far away. Without going into too much detail, it just helps rotate things. So it's not moving things on a plane like this, it's only rotate a little bit.
Is that always a disorder
Say that
per
again,
se? Is that eye twitching movement always a disorder per se? There was a
not necessarily a disorder. Again, like if you're too caffeinated, that'll go away.
well. The reason I ask is because sorry, it may not be too relevant, but I saw this guy on an episode of the X-Files, and I've seen him in other things too, but he could do that with his eyes, like he was the bad guy because he had those like
You just make his eyes bounce.
creepy eyes, yeah, and
Well, you can
Yeah,
also
some do
control it, which is like not fun to do, but like
Okay.
if you, I can't do it.
he can move
Probably
it really,
can't.
really fast.
You can try to do it.
Yeah.
I'm like my hands going trying to do it.
So it's not always a disorder. You can
No.
control
Yeah,
it.
you can have. There's some voluntary control. It would be really hard to do that.
Yeah.
But it could be a disorder if it's pretty consistent. It doesn't necessarily mean there's other things going on. It could just be related to.
It's a sign.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, it's not always.
My cousin actually, her eyes are always kind of like twitching, and when she's like focusing very like intensely,
Yeah.
it like starts going like twitching a lot.
Oh really?
But normally it's just like a steady twitch,
No.
but if she's like
That
really
is-
focused,
diagnosis? Yeah. Okay. That would explain it. You don't have to share it. Oh, I don't even know. Yeah, it's like. Yeah.
How can you tell if like a twitch is regular problem or if it's a ganglia problem, so like it can't override
Your question. It's a good question. So is it cranial nerve? Is it the basal ganglia? Is it muscle fatigue? So there's actually multiple sources, and that would require a more detailed history with some history information. So did I say history twice? So you need to collect somebody's history. You also maybe need to look at brain scans, or if there's been some event in somebody's life where it's changed the brain function. If it's new versus old, so if something just started, if it's a new twitch and it doesn't go away, then have there been medication changes? Is it sleep related? Is it nutrition related? And kind of go through a whole checklist to find out. That would be a neurology question if it's new. Yeah. Everybody's had muscle twitches from fatigue, right? Where like just this weekend I was reading too much and my eye would just go, and it's like, oh, stop it, eye. But that's muscle fatigue. So if it's muscle fatigue, you usually know, like, oh man, I missed sleep last night. That's what that is. If it's new and it doesn't go away, or if you feel like it's now interfering with what you're doing, that's a good question for your doctor to find out maybe what the source of that is. It's not always an easy question to answer. Yeah. Yes.
So I was hard to hear over there, but back to the eye vibration thing, I have a friend who will be talking and he'll just vibrate his eyes at me just to
Yeah.
it'll just like do it. So
You're
it's
doing
kind
it.
of a nerve thing, but it's not a muscle thing, or
There's multiple reasons why you can make your eyes move. So it could be, if it's involuntary, you're not trying to control it. It could be related to nerve damage. It could be related to muscle damage. It could be related to cerebellar damage. It could be related to basal ganglia damage. Nystagmus is such a low-level sign that there could be a lot of things upstream from it that are causing it to happen. Does that make sense? But you do have some voluntary control. And the reason you have that ability to move your eyes rapidly like that is related to your need to saccade, right? So when you look around the room, I can't look across the front row without focusing on y'all's faces. I just can't. Or looking at the chairs. And your open or closed eyes. Try not to put your eyes to sleep. And that ability to move quickly is also related to your ability to, if you inhibit the constant nystagmus typically, so you might lose that ability to inhibit.
And you have to do that to see. Like if you stop your eye movement, you'll just like stop seeing. Like your brain requires like.
Yes,
point.
actually. Yeah.
So like you can even meditate and stop your eyes from moving, and just basically go blind and turtle. Your vision will
You
fade
can
out.
actually stop it. You
Yeah. You can like hold your gaze halfway and stop seeing things.
Interesting. Well, I thought that was more related to focus, not movement of the eyes.
But doesn't it? You need to be moving eyes.
Well, and that's for 3D vision. So I did bring it up because I don't want to confuse you. So nystagmus is visually noticeable. I look at your eyes and they're wiggling as nystagmus. You are also constantly shifting your gaze a bit, and that allows you to sort of see the spatial relationships of things, so you understand where things are in space. And that also has to do with why you have two eyes, because you can see things at slightly different angles, right? So if you kept still, my understanding is that things will start to look two-dimensional.
Yeah, right. It takes on a different quality.
Yeah, so it looks two-dimensional. And people that have lazy eye, they have trouble with depth perception. And it's similar, but slightly different. Yeah.
so like with REM sleep, I'll wake up and my eyelids will be swollen. Is that just a
Oh, I don't know what that's for. Yeah.
Not fine.
Yeah, you just be tiredness.
I didn't know if that was the muscle.
I
I didn't know what would be.
I don't know if it's cool. I'd have to ask you more. In your big class, it's not really go there.
If someone has epilepsy that their eyes are still like lose gaze and stuff, is that also or
Epilepsy is from
yeah, I mean like I have epilepsy, so like I just wonder like why if I have like a feet mom and why do I
back to you, so you're not, don't worry, I want to know what your thoughts are. But in lieu of taking a break, because we do need to get through a lot of things, I want to keep going through, because everybody's asking great questions, and y'all can take breaks as y'all need, because we're all adults here. And then we'll hopefully get to the activity, so y'all can spend some quality time on it in the last half hour. So we have time to do that. Let's just not do a break right now. Is that okay with everybody? Okay. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I just had a simple question, but like,
Okay.
why is it that like if you're up with like you're talking with someone and you're up close, maybe it's just me, but like my eyes, I can't focus on like both the eyes. Like I move my eyes to look at both of the eyes.
Oh, I do
But
that
when
too.
I'm farther away, like I can look at someone in the eyes, like I'm looking at you in the eyes, and my eyes aren't moving. But like my husband will mention it to me, like stop moving your eyes, like just focus like on one thing.
If you think about it really hard, can you stop it?
Yes, but then I end up like staring at one eyeball.
So up close, that makes a lot of sense. Because your focus up close just works differently. So I have an astigmatism too, hence the glasses, where I have more trouble seeing up close and also far away negative eyes. So up close, it makes it's related to your focus. So when something gets closer, you just can't see both eyes at once. I think everybody does that.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Now some people do it more because you get nervous about it. And I don't know if this is you, but my experience is that I'm looking at somebody, I'm going to be uncomfortable here for a second. So I'm looking at somebody, I'm going, should I look at his forehead or his eyes? I'm so embarrassed. Oh my gosh. That's just me being socially awkward, because I am. Or like, should I look at his mouth? I no, I'll look at his eyes. Where am I looking? That's me personally. And if I think about it hard, then I can, like, Sarah, suck it up. Look right in the middle. Just do it. That's definitely a top level thing. Further away, and I think it's just an area of focus. When you're further away, you can see both my eyes at once because the scale matches the distance for where your eyes can focus. Yeah. That's my take on it. Yeah. All right, facial nerves. One caveat here, or one aside. What happens when we get into cranial nerves? We're talking about the problems. We're going to be talking about tics and muscle twitches. Everybody starts to feel like they have them. And they're going, oh my gosh, something's wrong with my cranial nerves. Or when should I be worried about this? And if you are, so you can usually self-evaluate as an adult and realize if you're maybe just reading too much into it, or if you are actually concerned given what we're talking about. So if you ever feel like it's not just you learning about something new and wondering if something's wrong with you, if you ever feel like you're actually worried, definitely come talk to me. I'm not a doctor. If it's medical, I'll explain what you're explaining to me and try to explain it in a neurological term, then I'll say, go to your doctor and tell your doctor. But if you ever just want to know why something's happening, I'm happy to talk with you about it if you just want to get a sense of like what it is you're trying to describe. And if you're ever not sure if it's something you should be worried about or not, you can definitely come talk to me. But if it's ever something that's medical, just go to your doctor. I'm not that kind of doctor. Okay. They call it medical student syndrome. You've heard that before. Medical students will get into the pathological portion and think they have everything. They go. Sure, psych students, speech students will do it too in here, yeah. So med student disorders, I think is the one I heard of, but we can have speech student disorder too. Where it's sort of like, I don't know what it is, it's sort of suggestion that does it to you. So you become aware, and you become more aware of what your body does, I think. You learn about your body, and I wish everybody learned about this stuff. So I think that's so important to understanding how you do things. But as you become more aware of your body, you also become more aware of how your body doesn't work properly. All right, so facial nerve, another really important one for speech and language. So it's motor and sensory, and it has some special parasympathetic functions, primarily salivation. So it does control the muscles of the face, and we'll look at a map in just a second. And then you have sensation near your ears, and then taste on the interior two-thirds of your tongue. And I think it controls salivation somewhere around the glands or somewhere around here. If you check it out in the hospital, if you've ever been in a traumatic experience and you haven't had a lot of food and water in your mouth for a while after a trauma, your mouth is like a desert. If you don't get the stimulation to salivate as often, your mouth gets you'll need to dry if it's going to heat. So one trick is stacking the sauce right here, and you'll get a lot wetter in your mouth. You can just like do that right now. Just in a minute. But in a minute you'll be like, with the facial nervous damage, you'll get taste loss, you'll get difficulty in salivation, and you can also get facial paralysis or weakness. And here's a picture of what it's innervating. So it's innervating through here, helping your face do its larger movements. The difference between the facial nerve and the trigeminal is the trigeminal is helping the masseter with chewing. Your facial nerve is helping with the facial expressions and the fine motor control for speech. Well, y'all gave up too soon on the thought.
It worked.
Did it work?
Yeah.
Okay. That was back.
Too well.
Too well. Oh, okay. So the stibiocochlear nerve is another important one for auditory processing. Sometimes you'll hear it called the auditory nerve. And it's important for hearing and balance, hence the name auditory or vestibulocochlear. If the vestibulocochlear nerve is damaged, you'll get what kind of hearing loss? Anybody know?
Sensory and neural.
Sensory neural, yeah. As opposed to what kind of hearing loss?
Conductive.
So you'll get a sensory neural hearing loss and not a conductive hearing loss. Conductive is conducting that sound to your cochlea. If it's nerve damage, it's related to the passing that signal that may mechanically be there to your brain. And there can be many ways this can be damaged. It can be because the brainstem has larger lesions going on. There's actually a type of neuroma that you'll see a little bit more commonly than on other cranial nerves. They used to call them acoustic neuromas. Now they call them just schwannomas on the vestibulocochlear nerve. And it'll impinge on that nerve or kill off some of the axons of the nerve.
So the hearing loss, it's more of like you're getting the mechanic signal, but your brain doesn't know how to interpret it.
Or the pathway is disrupted, so it doesn't get to your brain. So your actual stapes and incus, your cochlea could be working fine. You might have all your beautiful hair cells, but you have damage in what you love places or sports ball games or whatever. I call it in my head. Damage to your hair cells are fine. It's just that the nerve can't take that translation and send it to your primary auditory cortex. And your auditory cortex might also be fine. It's just that pathway. So it can't sig that electrical signal. Yeah.
Wouldn't this be in the central nervous system though? This nerve? No.
Nope.
So that's why they can call it
There's not a good picture. There's not a picture of a facial nerve. No, it's outside your brainstem and traveling into it.
Oh, right.
So once it gets in there, then it's part of the central nervous system. But no, it's still peripheral. And the pictures, are you thinking of like maybe an audiology course picture?
I was just thinking, you said schwannoma, and I thought, well,
Ooh, other way.
glial cells are outside of the central nervous system.
That's right. So Schwann's
So-
also peripheral.
Yeah. And so I wanted to double check.
Gotcha. Yeah, I just want to make sure I understood the source of the question. So yeah, so it's peripheral nervous system, and the schwannoma would be those cells that myelinate your peripheral axons. Right. That bone nuts. Yeah. Okay. It also controls, or also helps pass on sensory information from your vestibular system, or your semicircular canals. So the branches that you see on a picture of the cochlea and the semicircular canals, that is this nerve. That's the nerve pathway that's showing in those pictures. The vestibulocochlear nerve. The only one of these is, there are two of them. Okay, there are three of them. Four. I was going to say, all these words are pretty straightforward in terms of abducens doesn't really tell you much. Trochlear, unless you know the root meaning. Trigeminal. There's like a few that aren't descriptive, but a lot of them are. So glossopharyngeal. What does that mean?
Tongue and pharynx.
Tongue and pharynx. So let that help you. Let the words help you remember what they're for. So we're down to 9. So says B. Yep. Oh. through, I always count through on my fingers. So it's both motor and sensory. It helps with pharyngeal movement, so your pharyngeal muscles kind of come down in a V, right? When you think back to your A&P nerves, you got 3 of them, and they help them contract. So you can move things through your pharynx if you need to, or open it if you need more space. Oh, yeah.
Do we need to know motor sensory both, or do we need to know if it's like all like parasympathetic versus special sensory?
I want you to know that. I won't expect you to be able to cold list it if I say like I'll give you a blank chart is what I typically do, and I'll say fill in everything, and I'm just looking for motor sensory in both. Now I might ask more detail in a different way, but I'll never ask you to just list everything off the top of your head, right? But if I say what might a parasympathetic function of the glossopharynx, a pharyngeal nerve, be, that would be salivation. Whenever a cranial nerve is doing something parasympathetically, it's usually salivation. That's an easy one. But I wouldn't ask you to just straight list that off the top of your head. I also want you to be able to find this information quickly. That's typically a more important thing to be able to do. This information changes a lot over the years. Surprisingly enough, it's not all well understood yet, even anatomically. And nobody can hold a book inside their head from cover to cover. All that accurately. So a really important skill is to be able to go to your source and find what you need and know what you're looking for. So it's not as simple as just knowing what book to go to. You have to have an understanding of what's in that book to be able to find what you need, right? And I'll come back to that when we're talking about the test. Just a little bit. Okay. So the glossopharyngeal nerve, besides pharyngeal movement, it also helps with sensory information from the middle ear. Anybody have a middle ear infection before that you remember? Most of us had them as kids. You get them as adults. They hurt, right? Like a lot. They hurt. That's why. So you have sensory information from there. You don't have sensory information everywhere from your body, so you won't always feel something. You feel that one.
So that's why when you the kind of the back of your tongue and your ear, like if you have an ear infection, it kind of
It all feels funny. Yeah, everything's inflamed. It doesn't feel good. That's because all that sensory information is sort of going to the same nerve. Yeah, that's true. Okay, middle ear sensory information. Taste on the posterior 1/3 of the tongue, and also pain and sensory information on the posterior 1/3 of the tongue. What was the front 2/3?
Facial.
There you go. If the glossopharyngeal nerve is damaged, the swallow and gag reflex won't necessarily be there. You might have a loss of taste or pharyngeal movement. The gag reflex is something that will test as SLPs, and it's one of the least, in fact, it is the least funnest thing to test. Your patient now hates you, and I'm just kidding. Well, most of them, I'm kidding. And the annoying thing about the gag reflex is something like 30% of the population just doesn't have it anyway. So if it's absent, you don't know if it would normally be absent or if it's now newly absent. But if it's there and stronger, that's really what you're looking for when you're testing the gag reflex. So that would indicate spasticity. Keep that in the back of your brain for someday in motor speech disorders, or if you're meeting somebody with spasticity. So this kind of shows what the glossopharyngeal nerve generates. So that part of the tongue and your pharynx. All right, vagus nerve, another really important one. This is the one that, if you've ever seen that picture of the nerve going all the way down the neck of a giraffe, that's the vagus nerve of the giraffe. Because it does more than just collect sensory or give motor information to your face and pharynx. It also travels down the your clavicle. So it's motor and sensory, and parasympathetic and special sensory. So it innervates the pharyngeal and the laryngeal muscles. So this one's really key for movements of the larynx that allow you to produce voice. It also collects sensory information from the pharynx, helps regulate blood pressure. And you also have some taste on your epiglottis, which I'm going to, by the way. Not a lot of people know that. And you have some taste in your pharynx. Not as much as on your tongue. And it also helps to innervate your heart, lungs, and digestive
what aspects of sleep is that?
Think I know.
I mean, I'm thinking like,
What do you think?
back of the throat sounds and stuff, or maybe nasal sounds,
So back of the throat sounds like what kind of sounds?
like good,
That's not back of the throat, that's back of the mouth. And those are velar sounds. So they could affect those, but they're more likely to affect nasal sounds. So velar sounds are primarily controlled through your tongue movement. They just hit your velum. That's hence the name. It's not because your velum's moving, it's your tongue. But if you can't move your velum, what does your velum do? Blocks off the nasal passage. That's right. So if it's weak, if you're going to have insufficiency or something called VPI, velopharyngeal insufficiency, where air isn't blocked. So when you speak, you'll have air escaping through your nose.
so then you wouldn't be able to produce like M's or N's. What would you do in therapy for that?
Well, it would depend on the severity. There's lots of different things you could do. You could get a prosthesis to help lift it up, for example, or you could work on building oral mouth pressure up, and making it more forceful to kind of pop it into place. But those things are pretty tricky, and nasality affects a lot more than M and N. So if you have nasality on B, all right, so, and I think I answered you incorrectly a second ago, actually. So you would be able to produce M and N, right? Because air does come out your nose. You wouldn't be able to produce anything else without it being nasal. I'm sorry, I answered you too fast without thinking. So M and N would be fine, but everything would sound like M and N because it's all coming out your nose. That would be the issue. And so it's one of the harder things to treat because it really, really affects intelligibility. Yeah, sorry, I misspoke. So the velar control and palatal control is really important as well. And you can see the vagus nerve is really important. So it helps all through here. It travels through your diaphragm, it dips down over your clavicle, helps a lot of different functions. And unfortunately, it's one of the nerves that's more susceptible to mechanical damage during surgery. So if somebody gets intubation, emergency intubation in an emergency situation, or if they have anybody have a family member or something that had carotid cleaned out in their throats, when they go in and clean out the carotid, sometimes they'll nick the vagus because it's close by. And whenever that nerve gets that mechanical damage, you'll see problems with voicing, and then possibly digestive problems and things like that. We'll get through the cranial nerves here, and then we're going to pause, and I want to have y'all do that activity. Make sure y'all are understanding where all these things are connected, okay? So your spinal accessory nerve is important for your neck and shoulder muscle movement. So this allows you to adjust your posture to improve your breathing, things like your breath, perhaps. And also, people that are clavicularly breathing, as you get older, you have more trouble breathing into your diaphragm and your chest, maybe through ossification or something like that. But you're able to control your neck and shoulder muscles with this a little bit better. It's not. I wouldn't have put a star on this one personally. Somewhat important, not super important. Here we go. It does innervate my favorite muscle though. Anybody remember what that one is? Sternocleidomastoid. I actually damaged my sternocleidomastoid when I was taking functional neuroanatomy because I had to turn my head to look at notes for 12 hours a day for 6 weeks. Fun stuff. Trying to avoid neck injuries. Okay, last one. This one is important. You have a hypoglossal nerve, and it innervates the muscles of the tongue.
Is that genial?
Yeah, not all of them. So if you have a damaged hypoglossal nerve, you might have reduced tongue movement. It's kind of rare that you'll damage both sides of this cranial nerve at the same time, since they're not on the same side. Usually what you'll see is asymmetric damage. So if somebody damages one side of their cranial nerve, if they try to protrude their tongue, it'll go to one side, like off to the side. It always goes to the weak side. So if I have left cranial nerve damage to cranial nerve 12, and I go to protrude my tongue, it's going to go left. Because the left side of my tongue is now weakened. or you have a higher up problem that's affected the whole tongue. But it is important to understand how it works. Okay. Now, we have a fair amount of, here's a, I don't know why this is here and not before, I should have moved it. When we were talking about brain stuff, I want to pause before we get to the cerebellum so that y'all have time to do the activity. I was going to bring clay and have y'all build these things, and I still really highly recommend you do something like that. You can get Play-Doh like anywhere. You go to Walgreens, they have it at Walgreens even. So I still highly recommend that you do something like that to help build your own model. But in lieu of doing that in class, one thing I noticed on the neuron assignments was that while most people did most of the major structures well, there were a lot of details that weren't that precise. So as I was walking around looking, most people had the general flow of the action potential, but there were other issues like mislabeling an action, the axon terminals as dendrites, or missing details of how a membrane works. And it's really important to be precise when we're talking about these things. You do need to know the big picture, but you also need to know the details. And so I thought that the drawing was better for that than a craft like that, because people have better or worse craft skills, and some people might be really good if you have a couple more hours. So I decided to scrap it. And what I want y'all to do instead is get out your drawings. Don't do it quite yet. I'm just going to talk through the whole thing first. And I want you to partner up. And as a partner, what I want you to do is exchange your drawings, write your name on your partner's drawing, and grade their drawing. So I want you to go through and correct it. And so your grade will be partially based on how well you graded your partner's assignment. See if you've missed errors. And then I'll give you the opportunity to take that drawing back home and fix the things that were errors. Does that sound good? So I want y'all to get it right. I'm less concerned that I am assessing your knowledge and skills before we talk about it, and more concerned that you're getting it correct. So I want y'all to spend the rest of today correcting each other's drawings, and then I'll have you printed it on Monday. The other thing I wanted to talk about, the pop quiz freaked y'all out. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Yeah. So I still maintain that you need to come in having read very closely so that you can ask better questions and understand what I'm talking about at a higher level of depth, right? However, given that the pop quiz was scary to y'all, is it okay if you just drop that? Yes. If you did well in the first one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the first one and add it into the individual assignments. And I'll drop the lowest individual assignment. Do y'all understand how I do that? I'll adjust the syllabus, and if you want to know more detail, talk to me after or not hours or something. I'll post a detail of what that looks like on the syllabus in terms of percentage changes, and we'll revisit it on Monday. Okay? Yeah.
So are we turning?
Hey, everybody, we still have some questions.
Are we turning in the graded partner drawing and then giving it back to fix it?
No, I just want it fixed.
Okay. So we're taking.
So don't throw it away when you take it home. I want to see the graded version. So don't go home and do a new one. Go home and fix the one you have. If you drew in marker and you need to do a new one because you drew in pen or something instead of pencil, then just do the new one and attach it. Okay? But I do want to see the graded version with your corrections. All right? I trust everybody. I just want to see y'all get it right. All right.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah. I'm always
Well, there's like an odd number of people, so we could switch.
Oh yeah. Why don't we go?
Yeah. That works. Just pass it to the person to your. Yeah. We're going in a.
So then you would give yours, right?
What kind of coffee? I gotta find it. Is that yours?
Yeah, that's mine.
Yeah, I don't know. So, the grades,
Yeah, like all things with me.
And we have to write our names, like, grade I just wrote grade 5. Not ain't pretty, but it should be right. And can I pause y'all for a second? So I'm getting a lot of the same question, which is, but what if nothing's wrong? Right? A lot of people have that question.
Yeah.
Like my pictures were tracing, so they're all fine. So if that's the case, you can add a level of detail. You can spend the time adding a level of detail. So I'm gonna be walking around talking to you about that. I still want to see. You still need to write your name on somebody else's because you will be partially graded on how well you practice somebody. So you do actually need to go through that step. The other thing you can vote me down if you don't like this. The other thing you can spend the time doing is if you don't need to do corrections, on your test you will also be tested on the basal ganglia. So if you have room on your current page, you can start drawing the basal ganglia from that chapter. I'll bring up a picture that I want y'all to use. What do y'all think about that? Does that sound good? And that way I can grade both at once and you'll have that experience of doing it.
So you'll be uploading what your expectations are for drawing the basal ganglia?
I'm going to put them up right now.
Okay.
And on YouTube as well. Yes. It says, so I want y'all to spend the time productively. Y'all have just 5 more minutes. Yes.
Does anybody not have a partner?
So is that, do you want us to add that on?
oh, she's done.
I'll bring it down. I feel you.
So the only thing that I added was the dorsal postmandibular smooth because there's the lateral funiculus.
I think there's only, did you find a
You just called it the funiculus. I don't know if you. It doesn't say dorsal horn and dorsal funiculus. So you just might have. Nails looks good, and as long as you contain the dorsal horn within the spinal fin itself, close, but it's just kind of close to that. But you still got to
But I like how it's like when I seen it and like imagine myself looking at it.
Yeah, everything was there. There was everything from which time. Yeah, I did too. I actually did an old drawing. I traced my old drawing for the first part, and then I freehanded the nerves, and I wanted the nerves. Hey.
You know what?
Yeah, and it does curve downward. Depends on what angle you're looking at.
Oh.